Billions, it's a business. Millions, it's a private. I think it's lottery. At the end of the day, I have no formula.
Today we have a banger episode. We have a billionaire from Lithuania that built a company to 2.9 billion.
Select profession, which is still not exist. How you can plan next year? I would say it's a total.
And he will share how he built the company. What does it take to build a €1 billion company? And what are the strategies and tactics that they do in their business that has helped them to grow and scale?
I think arrogance is the killer of the potential bright future for any business. Different age gives you different happiness.
Plus, we will talk about personal life, personal finances, how much this billionaire actually spends personally per year. And it's going to be packed full and interesting episodes.
So I was millionaire and become billionaire being in aviation.
And let's watch it right now. Let's go. Gediminas. Love to have you. Thank you for coming from Lithuania to here to our office in Riga.
Studio.
First question is, what does it take to build a €1 billion company?
Probably right plan, right industry, right people, and right emotion to do this.
And how did you do it? What's your story? How did you start this business that is right now doing 2.8 billion in sales?
I think sales is not the final goal. I think goal is much bigger probably. But I think all businesses faces different stages. First of all, a lot of things learning by doing, a lot of results which businesses gain by mistakes.
Yeah.
And if you track, global companies which arise last 20 years, all of them had crises, all of them made mistakes, all of them were looking for their model, and many, many, many things. So I probably following one golden rule: if you fail, keep doing, and nothing is happening very fast because you need to repeat and repeat many things, and then probably you'll get the result. So I think. Many businessmen has different stories, legacies, and etc. But we can find common things between all businesses which arise the last 20 years in the market.
What was your story? How did you start the business? What was the origin of that?
Oh, I started. So I'm 48 right now. So I started first company being 20. So I'm in the business 28 years, quite long.
This is your first business?
Yeah, being 20, I created first business. Yeah,
Is it this one?
No. I was working for 1.5 years in Lithuanian saving bank in compliance department. They fired me. When
you didn't like it. I read
I like it. And then the bank was placed for privatization. Of course, we reduced the number of the people just to make results better. And with several colleagues, we created first credit management company in Lithuania because I knew something about compliance. And we were learning by doing. So within 5 years, this company became leader in Lithuania because I was doing business just locally. And we sold that business to the Credit Info Group, which now acts as a credit info part of the global business.
How did you start Avia Solutions Group?
Oh, it's another very known story for Lithuanian market. Back to 2005, with several colleagues, we participated privatization of Lithuanian Airlines. It successfully bankrupted in 4 years.
Yeah.
Lithuanian Airlines.
Yes.
Okay.
And 2009, I lost all my money, which I earned in other businesses from other activities. And I'm calling this one of the most expensive tickets in aviation ecosystem. My colleagues from around the world appreciate it because they say, and I agree with them, that if you lost your own money, then your next decision will be much more accurate.
Yeah, as opposed to losing other people's money.
But to fund that business, you started with zero, or how did you kind of, aviation business, you have airlines, you have big crew. Like, how did you start?
Capital intensive.
Yeah.
Government protections and it's many things. No, when I was privatizing Lithuanian Airlines in 2005, I was quite wealthy person by my age. I was 28. There were a lot of speculative deals around my company. Now it's called family office. I did the first agro company IPO on the stock exchange, on Nasdaq Stock Exchange. I was reselling big land plots, buying companies from bankruptcies because I was owning credit management companies. So I had access to the distressed assets by that time.
Yeah.
So, and 2005, I was thinking what to do in bigger scale. And privatization of airlines, it was probably privatization of last governmental assets and not the best one. And at the same time, 2004, Lithuania stepped into EU. So basically means that market became open, not protected, and everybody can fly from Ryanair, Air Baltic, and others. And we were very much exposed to the new rules. No clue about aviation. It was very super opportunistic acquisition. And again, I was learning by doing. Very hard ball playing game 4 years in this new environment. No knowledge about that.
Just curious, what made you have the feeling or maybe the calculation that the aviation industry, amongst others that you had options to go into, that it's worth your time, worth the investment? Did you see that it's going to be a massive industry, or it was just like, let's just try, see how it goes, and then adapt?
I had no clue about aviation, and now I can tell you the overview of the markets.
In hindsight, it's a different story.
Yeah, so it was really opportunistic privatization, which was driven by, if we buy a governmental company, we'll make it better, because there were a lot of good examples about previous privatization, alcohol companies, factories, and etc. But it was probably, I was too young to evaluate risks.
Sure.
And it's good because you are jumping into the water not knowing how to swim, and then you're starting to swim. So 4 years it was like hard working and education about aviation. And if it will be today, I will never ever step into the aviation.
Interesting.
I would love to know just quickly some business data so people who listen to our conversation can understand how big is Avia Solutions Group. So revenue 2.8, how many employees?
Billion.
2.9 billion euros, 15,000 people.
15,000 people.
We are physically covering 70 plus countries. Operations, not representative office, but operations, we physically have in more than 35 countries. And it's not that we want to do something globally extraordinary. Our business does not work if we're covering one continent. We need to cover 6 continents, which has different seasonality. And this seasonality drives our business because we're providing a full chain of the services to the scheduled carriers for 3-6 months when they need it, and then moving our aircraft following the new holiday season in other part of the world. So holiday season above the equator is in summer, below equator is in winter.
Yeah.
EBITDA for the business?
More than 400 million euros.
Nice. Very interesting.
Can we go, because I watch a lot of videos from Avia Solutions YouTube channel that you've spoken about different topics, different podcasts where you've given interviews, and mostly people focus already on the success side. When you already have built the businesses, you have the experience and so on. What I want to kind of focus on is your life leading up to, you said 20 years of age when you started doing business, and you quickly became successful because by 28, when you were going for the aviation privatization deal, you had money. Can you tell us about your life before you started business, so up to years of age of 20? What was like foundational and important, and what do you think? What circumstances made you so successful, or maybe luck? I don't know. But what's your take, and what is your story before basically your childhood up to age of 20?
I have 5 kids, and my son will turn 19 in a couple of months. So probably number one condition, I'm just overviewing my history of the business development. I was hungry from the childhood.
How? Okay, go on, because I have a question on this.
My father is Soviet Union time was a prosecutor. My mother born in Siberia in deported family, and she came back being 8 from Siberia. When my family came back, we had 0 assets, The Soviets took all the assets. In the house where my grandmother was living, it was already school.
Yeah.
And during 1990s, my parents, because my mother was in the family which is not loyal to the Soviet regime.
Yeah. She had no options to get
no
a
options
job
to
in the
get
party.
promotion and etc. So yeah, so we were living quite poor life. We had the relatives in USA who handled to escape deportation, and every month we've been getting packages from USA of coffee, chewing gums, and etc. So I remember those times. So when Soviet Union collapsed, I was 13. Of course, with Russian language, with all Russian attitudes, and etc. So probably I was very hungry. My grandfather from father's side was chief of the only one fish factory in Lithuania during the 1980s, 18 and 1939.
Right.
He was quite known CEO, reputable, and etc. And I saw how they were poor during the Soviet times because they had nothing, assets. I mean, I saw kids from other families with Communist Party clerks and etc. We were living in times poorer.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. I mean, but there were a lot of families, a lot of kids that were poor or come from poor, underprivileged backgrounds. So I totally understand. You have the need, you have the hunger, but there must be something else. I mean, a lot of people.
How did you get into entrepreneurship? Maybe like what was that?
How eventually got to that? Yeah.
Some my family members saying genetics. I still was living in let it call elite family. Always was high education as a goal. Always family educational type was that we're feeling ourselves as elite educated persons with the skills. It was not so that we've been living poor. At the same time, we just
had no skills or ability.
Exactly. So I probably think that poor life and hungry for things and seeing that around could be different was deep footprint in my mindset. But overall, I think hard working is also part of our family genetics. My mother, who passed away 2016, was also a very hard-working woman. So to do things was always in our family.
Right.
So maybe it's everybody has their own story, but I remember that when I started my business, 1998. Yeah. Until 2006, I was not going for the vocation because I was thinking it's waste of the time.
Yeah, just working nonstop, pretty much.
But if I will return times back, probably I would spend some time for gathering knowledge, not necessarily university,
right?
Real practice and etc. So that's why I'm saying to my two kids, don't go to university. Join me for 2 years and then think what to do further.
So just a backup question on that. How do you install this hunger in your kids? Because they live in a completely different reality. And this is what I see with my kids as well. I mean, they have a different set of conditions and rules in life compared to kind of how we grew up. How do you make that happen? How do you make sure that they have the hunger, the motivation?
I think motivation is different for sure. I think different again direction. Some people attending sports and they have this motivation mindset via sport. Some kids don't. So I think it's lottery.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I have no formula. But looking for example, Arnaud family. So there are a lot of books and information.
You mean LVMH?
Yeah.
Owner? Yeah.
So I mean, they're attending work like their father 8 in the morning, and it's discipline. So I probably has the only one formula. I want to see my sons, who is already starting their own life near me, and just do what I did, learning by doing. Because knowledge in reality gives much more benefits than university. Afterwards, I did the same in many businesses. I know practical things. Then I need to read specialized literature to add holes in my mindset and intelligent. So because today things happening very fast. I mean, AI.
Changes like.
I mean,
every
12
6
months you can become AI specialist and gain whatever contract you want. And 4 years university with the legacy, there are a lot of delays. Another thing's networking. I mean, so what I can bring to my sons and kids, networking, because aviation is very high profile people in the ecosystem.
Because it's critical for the country. Yes, sure.
You know, private aviation in business aircraft flies either rich, either influential.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you're dealing with very high profile people.
I would love to cover this. So many people, hard work not necessarily brings financial success in terms of business growth. Many times it's actually some focused attention on one specific thing to get the result. I want you now, right, to think about it in like 4 big pillars. So first pillar, how to go from 0 to your first million a year. Second pillar, from 1 million to 10 million. Third pillar, from 10 to 100 million. And fourth pillar, to scale from 100 to 1 billion. And what would be your kind of advice to focus on what specific things from your own personal experience, what you have focused on as a founder, as the kind of leading entrepreneur to achieve that, and what should be that focus for each of these 4 big pillars?
First of all, industry.
Okay.
And the market size. If you're thinking about Latvia or Lithuania, whatever, restaurant business, market size is one.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about food delivery, but global one, market size is different. It's just a very common example to the consumers, right? So we are from small countries, has one important condition. We are not spoiled by domestic market.
Exactly. We're forced to think already outside.
If I would born in Poland, for example, most likely I would never become a global businessman because market is big. You can do a lot of things. And many, by the way, Polish didn't get any global success because of the sizable 40 million local market.
100% agree. Same in fintech, like
exactly.
US companies are in the US or Chinese are in mostly in China.
But US overall is the big market.
Yeah, it's massive.
But if it would be in Poland, different story.
Mm-hmm.
Poland just an example.
Yeah.
I mean, Germany, Italy, France. So first of all, industry where you are in. Sometimes my colleagues asking what profession kids should select. My answer, select profession which is still not exist. Then you'll be much more demanded when demand will come.
Yes.
So, and actually this is challenge of well-developed countries. Universities are not gathering enough applicants for engineers, for whatever common works. So immigration filling those holes.
Yes.
And this is actually reality. So Boeing said that lack of the applicants is 1.5 million for those professions which serves assembling and production of new aircraft.
They have a need for 1.5 million.
Another example, pilots.
Mm-hmm.
Pilot, whatever salary in Europe. Okay. First officer and second pilot, probably €8,000 net per month during the peak. 8,000 if you are 19 years old guy with 1 year skills and education and practical education in AI, you can easily get 8,000 euros. So what is purpose to spend, pilot 24 months, but dentist, 8 years and whatever, 20,000 euros, 25,000 euros per month. I mean, you can easily get in new professions which has a lot of demand.
Going back to these different steps, right?
Market,
market
size, industry, ecosystem where you are right now. Because in ecosystem you're collecting information at the same time you can share. So whatever you are doing AI, I don't know. Let's select small island. Where is no other colleagues.
Yeah, you're not going to develop.
You're not going to develop for sure. And then so ecosystem where you are physically, and probably ecosystem what people surrounding you, because number one rule in business that if you have right people around, and it's very very wide,
Common.
wide understanding what is right. So, but at the end of the day, right people around you is very important. That's why we have valleys, Silicon Valley, other valleys. That's why, people who is not gaining from you, but at the same time you can gain from those people needed intelligent and everything what you need for business. So this group probably is the right city. I will be not popular saying this, but if it will be my decision today, I would go to the megapolis, fully live much earlier.
Which cities are those, by the way?
New York, Dubai, Tokyo, Singapore, London.
Not anymore that much.
London, Milan, Frankfurt, they have the same conditions. A lot of people from London, by the way, moved to Milan because of taxes.
And also to Dubai, especially
and
last
also
year.
to Dubai. But a lot of investment bankers and others, because Italy implemented a cap for the overseas businesses taxes, 200,000 euros per year. They live rather in Milan than in Dubai.
And so, are you saying that you come from Lithuania, but this network, this ecosystem, connections, knowledge, and so on, you gained from traveling a lot because you were building a global business, or because you decided early on to kind of be away from Lithuania and spend most of your time outside of Lithuania, or it's a combination of different factors?
No, it was not purposely that I want to live outside of Lithuania. It's a business goals driven decision. You need to be closer to the things.
Yeah.
So as I said, if I can come back 15 years ago, I will do it earlier because it was in line with my business decision and my business development. So I think we're not spoiled by a small market.
Yeah.
And we are not spoiled by the domestic benefits which we're getting in small countries. And if we're thinking about something bigger, for some people it's not needed.
Sure.
But for those who want to conquer the world, let's say so, they should be in the epicenter of the things.
And how do you adjust the business for this global market? What would be your advice on that?
Once you know your market, and in some cases, business still, because of the many things, can cover just part of the world. Let's assume we carve out China, we carve out Russia, in some cases USA. So it depends what is the size of the market, and then of course the decision which is followed after that. But knowledge is also very important. So I don't think that somebody could be so smart and to conquer people sitting in Silicon Valley. 10,000 AI startups is already there. Of course, in USA, it's easier to raise money, and I think it's a question what industry you could be in, you want to be in, what is the size of the market, and if we're not talking about tech companies, we have another condition of the global businesses cycles. Companies goes public, raising capital, then we're stuck in public market. And some companies needed to be delisted again. Some industries, for example, a friend of mine consolidating pet clinic business in USA. Super high profile business, growing 300 million animals in USA. The same costs for the humans, already insurance in place, etc. And it's unconsolidated market, but immediately arise last 25 years because of the pet
market revolution.
Yes. Consolidation. I think there are plenty of the publicly listed companies in the world, probably except USA. They were 4-5 times PE. Why? Because we are not showing something interest. We are not showing some potential aggressive growth, mergers, acquisition, etc. And we stuck with the same we did with Avia Solutions Group back to 2018. We delisted from Warsaw Stock Exchange. Price of our shares was 2 times PE.
Yeah, ridiculous.
And no chance for the shareholders to gain benefits being listed because there were changes of pension fund system, and immediately flow of the new cash, new public capital cash disappeared. So I think this.
So that was the reason you delisted?
Yeah. So it's about cycles in the business, or after distress, after after recession, plenty of the companies on the table. And we, again, from small companies, thinking that we need to have our own capital, friends and family at the beginning, then somehow to leverage everything. I mean, in modern world, if you have a good idea, if you have advantages in front of others, if you have a team and you can prove, go to capitalists. There are solutions of hybrid capital, hybrid debt. You can raise equity, you can raise senior debt, you can raise mezzanine, bridge, and you should go to capitalists. At the end of the day, probably 20 plus big international asset managers can provide different solutions. So it's, again, you can know about that being around them. They're looking where to deploy capital.
Sure.
They're looking for the good ideas and brilliant teams. So I think benefits and those who starting 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, it's a question what skills you're bringing on the table, where you are good, what is your advantages in front of others, and then what is your ambitions to get global business, raising capital, using capitalist money.
Can you talk about a topic of people asking you for money, for advice? I'm sure that, the more high profile you are, the more successful and the more money you have, the more there are people asking you for things. How do you manage this? Because I'm sure you got every day somebody's asking you something. How do you say no, or how do you kind of think about this?
I was doing everything before. Now I'm limiting myself to certain things which I understand.
Okay.
I don't lend money. Because I have a system, lawyers, family offices, and etc. I think number of unique ideas and number of unique projects, it's very limited, by the way. So I rather invest together with a team of the people to new ventures. So everything was aside from Aviation. I have a plenty of different businesses which were funded by me. And number one question is team. And your background. What did you do in your life? Show me the result. And it's a rule. I did also bad investment, but there was no background that I did it before.
Right.
So I think all family offices has the same rule. Sure. Evaluation of the project. I mean,
and what about the trickier? Let's say people that are maybe from your history, or from maybe your friends of some sort, that they ask, okay, I want to do this. You mentioned restaurant business. I need 150K, and they ask you because they have a direct contact to you as opposed to going through your family office. Do you have such instances where people ask you for money just because they can reach out to you directly, or you try to just not pick up the phone there?
Now I have a rule: don't lend money.
You just don't do it.
Friendship and business ventures, two different things. So even family and even other close people, I don't lend myself from the friends, and I don't lend to the friends.
Gotcha. Okay.
Two-part thing. How much do you work right now on average per week? How many hours?
Included flights or no?
Including. I mean, that's work.
17 hours.
17,
18.
And the second part is, why do you keep doing that? Why don't you just relax and spend time with your family, 5 kids, and just relax? Because I think you could do that, right?
Very good question. So my motivation 28 years ago was one. My motivation now is another. So probably I had in my conscious, why I'm doing this, the same question. And it's bad question. Then I need to sell business and quit and do something else. And I don't understand what to do at the end of the day. So because in the business, I have everything: competition, passion, fails, victories, power, bad ambition, good ambitions. So I think it's much more than business overall. So my motivation now, I'm adding projects much more ambitious than I can do in very common way.
Right.
We will announce one big transaction next.
Outside of Avia, you mean?
Inside and outside.
Okay.
Both.
Generally. Yeah.
Generally. As a businessman, as a business venture. So my motivation in some cases just to do in times bigger things.
Right. Okay. How do you think about this element of very successful people? They are addicted to some way to success because of the reasons you mentioned. It gives them all sorts of validation, and it's an intellectual challenge, an emotional challenge, it's a status thing, and so on. How do you make sure that I don't know, greed is maybe not a good word, but the negative motivations are not the driving force, but it's more about, it's a challenge, it's a new thing, you enjoy it, and then therefore you continue working hard because it's interesting and exciting, not because you want to be richer than the next, $100 billion guy. You see what I'm asking? Because I think for people that are very kind of dedicated and strive for success all the time, sometimes they just they burn themselves out, and it's because of a comparison to the next more successful person that they keep going, and that's not. I think it's not the right set of motivations. It's not the right reason to do things. But if you're doing it because you like it, you're happy, or you're fulfilled, that's a good set of motivations. How do you make sure it's the right motivation that keeps you going?
I could compare to the basketball. If you're playing national league, you achieve your all rewards, 3 times championship. Then you go and play for EuroLeague. Then you're going to NBA. So in NBA, what? First title. But what is motivation for LeBron?
It's a very good question. I mean,
being better than Jordan, I guess, maybe.
But it's
legacy
quite low. So he's creating now a new basketball league together with some investors. So doing something new. So probably the same in my mindset. I know some businessmen who likes to come in the same discipline, and it's cash cow every day, whatever, 1 million profit, and it's going. I'm not kind of such character. Probably, and those persons, by the way, inherited businesses from previous family members, parents and grandparents. So my motivation is different. And I think the best example is company DSV, Danish company, shipping company. We started business 1972 with 10 trucks. And we were constantly, now company generates $35 billion of revenue. And we bought last year Schenker, German integrator, which was owned by a railway company in Germany. We pay 15 billion. So their logic was that every step we were buying businesses bigger than them.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So, and now I don't know what is the motivation, because there is nobody bigger than them.
Yeah.
So I think we still have at least 20 plus years in advance companies bigger than us.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's only one motivation.
Interesting.
If you have a room with, let's say, all Baltic entrepreneurs, Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia, all of them have ambition to be big global players, but they're stuck at this 1 to, let's say, 5 million or maybe 500K to 5 million a year. What would be your number one advice to them to go and scale and grow?
Everything what could be scalable from the computer, tech.
Focus on tech.
Because the same global market, but physically you can even live in Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, in small country, and internet gives a lot of opportunities. Consumers realize that, if we have physical retail shop, 200 shops, 400 shops, the same you can build an internet.
Yeah.
Using, advanced skills, good SEO, good algorithm for feeding the traffic and etc. So internet gives a lot of opportunities to younger generation. What will be after that? AI. Of course, AI will change again things. But after that, I don't know. But I personally also paying big attention to new technologies. I made one investment in promising AI company, and that company is sitting in our office. three months ago. I will not mention the name because I'm not a founder.
Right.
They will probably announce themselves, but it's a high-profile people, 30 years working in consultancy business, and one day said, "No, this is a revolution. We need to quit our global businesses with good rewards and salaries, and we step in." So I really very believe in AI these days. The most important thing, what conditions I have, many startups has no ability to commercialize solutions which we're creating on AI, because you need to implement physically AI processes into real business. So currently, just Avia Solutions Group covers 17 business segments, and if we look overview of our family office, we're covering probably 30 plus businesses. So I can be a transporter between AI solution and implementation in real life. Because big resistance selling AI product, because company offering product to the person who after the implementation could physically be released and fired. Because AI would substitute processes and jobs.
Just a different type of question. What do you think are the biggest mistakes you've done in your career? Maybe it's kind of simple because you're used to talking about the business, but generally in life that you've made. What do you think retrospectively?
In some cases, I was too aggressive publicly.
What do you mean by that?
Like saying too much, and not respecting officially. It's like I think let it call it too ambitious, too young, and etc. I think communication is very important, and today we realized last 10 years we spend a lot of efforts on the right communication, because if you're doing something new or something else, surrounded ecosystem should know right information. But it's probably does not much impact business overall. Mentoring. I was paying for my mistakes big checks, big bills, and potentially I can gain information if I had right persons with right skills around me, where I can gain some intelligence and knowledge.
But here you're talking about what? Employees, business consultants? You're not talking about...
No. I'm talking about businessmen or people who is in the market. And today probably I have 10 plus younger persons, businessmen, who from time to time asking different questions. And I'm sharing because I like to share what works, what not, because we're not competing between ourselves. So right advice, even in personal life. Many people make mistake in personal life.
Of course. Marriage,
divorce, do that and that and that.
So do you have call it advisory board, advisors in your personal life? And that's not necessarily like romantic relationships, whatever. It can be spirituality, it can be health and so on, but not talking about business.
I have probably network of the people, and I'm even not calling them my mentors, but it's a reputable with the results in their CV that we did it.
Credible.
Credible and constant meetings, discussions. So, and condition by condition from different people.
Do you consciously select such people and seek out advice for those people, or is it just organically happens? You meet somebody, you connect well, they are credible, you're interested in some of the information or some of the know-how that they have, and therefore there's a reason for a dialogue, or you select maybe like there's an area I have a problem with or I want to develop in, and then I look for, through my network, I look for somebody that can advise me. How does that happen?
I'm not asking in the way like you mentioned. It's not like, give me advice. It's more common human discussions.
Right, conversation.
But for example, if one sheikh of one emirate calling me, come for the dinner tomorrow, I want just to spend time, I'm canceling everything, I'm going.
Yeah.
So, and for example, I notice I gathering different, our managers, and manager, I have my family issues, I cannot come. Okay.
Yeah.
I would not do that because it's opportunity.
Yeah.
So it's rather to dedicate time to the right high profile people, and we will not say, "Oh, come, you should follow them."
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
should,
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what the guy pay? What, 5 million for with the breakfast with Buffett, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. The crypto guy. Yeah. I understand. Okay.
How does your schedule look, by the way? It's like minute to minute. How tight is it?
I have certain meetings and obligations fixed in calendar very much in advance. Then I have some corporate rules where we're gathering every Tuesday, every whatever Friday, first Friday of the first Friday of the quarter, and etc. Then everything else I'm flexible. I'm in constant contact with the 60 plus CEOs, and I can write whatever anytime.
For me, in my business, I also have this issue where I'm looking for top tier talent, and I'm maybe struggling to find them, hire them. And I know Matis has done it well, and he's still looking for some people simultaneously for other businesses. What would be your kind of top tips on finding and getting top talent in your organizations?
First of all, network. And I'm always asking for the people who has a credit as an executive in the team. Tell me what interesting person you met in your business life.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a kind of the list of the people who is potentially in my headhunting list.
Mm-hmm. So you get suggestions from your best, team members.
Yes.
So that's how you know that the ones that they will suggest are pretty good people.
Gediminas, how do you do it if you have limited resources? Because, okay, right now maybe you have like a lot of resources you could allocate, give them big salary, they would come to you. But let's say in the early days, you don't have resources. You don't have like gajillion euros in the bank account. You need to be like very kind of limited in that sense. What would be your advice then?
Then, of course, use matrices. Today, you can, on LinkedIn, you can use AI, using AI to find those talents. If person works for some successful company, managing position, more than 5 years, so definitely employer is okay. He or she is delivering, and company is successful. Then natural step. If you want to attract with the lower payments, you need to provide stock options.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, that is the challenge of the all tech companies. We grew up to certain valuations, and many people's in-house thinking we are not shareholders.
Right.
And we're creating a lot of value and benefits. And in their mindset, because we see their colleague, which is the same age, oh, he's a billionaire.
Yeah.
I'm even not worth 10 million.
Mm-hmm.
This is a challenge for tech companies as well, because the market is so dynamic, and the supply of the right people is very limited. But overall, I have hiring people have a rule for high profile executives. Minimum 5 years in successful company, and certain other rules.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And you also, as I heard your one interview, that you also give stock options to your top management, or no? Not
Depends what business. If it is startup stage, yes, of course.
Sure.
If it is already mature level. So Avia Solutions Group has 60 plus managers who are shareholders in Avia Solutions Group. I think up to 10% of Avia Solutions equity is owned by managers, but it was 15 years legacy.
Yeah. Over a period of time.
You said one of the rules to success is also having a clear path, a plan. How do you think about planning, and what should be like maybe the planning structure, or how to plan your year, month, week, day? What are some advice in that kind of department?
I had some comments from in various places from different businesses. How you can plan next year? I would say it's a total.
But you cannot.
It's a definitely you can.
Okay.
I mean, and then comes how you understand your market environment, how you understand competitive environment, competition behavior, and I have a rule. Even with the smartest person, without plan will fail. And even the stupidest person with the plan will reach at least part of the plan.
Yeah, right.
So plan is very important. And actually, interesting story. I caught myself that I started planning in advance visiting Asia, China, particularly 2012. They have plans 250.
Right.
Then I was overviewing overall Asian region and Japan. Japan is very, very good in planning. You know that Toshiba has a plan 2,100. But SoftBank 2,300. How can you plan 300 years in advance?
Yeah, that's already a very mindset kind of thing. But I would argue that China is, because it's so centralized and it's driven by one party, that allows them to do the planning.
But it's not about party. It's not about that. You're going to one city. Of course, party has frames of everything. But today we have 10 million people. 2050 we'll have 50 million people. All roads, bus stations, transportation, and everything, heating, electricity is planned for 50 million. Look to the cities which grow up, whatever, 50%. Look to Vilnius. I mean, cities to row for 1 million people. And if 50 years ago somebody would plan that in that city, because of the local birth rate, immigration will have 2 million population, then city should be built totally different. Yeah. It's valid everywhere in the business. So currently, we are working on Avia Solutions Group by 2030 plan. It's just 5 years. I have in my mind 2035, but we have a budget even till 2030.
Okay.
And how would you go about a new business? What would be your plan then? Let's say you are starting out something.
Market. First of all, you're thinking about market size, then how you can compete in that environment, and what is the condition you should bring to gain your market share, which you want to gain. Whatever, I can give you flight delays compensation market. I mean, 32 million passengers could gain a compensation for flight delays. Average compensation is 375 euros. So market overall is what? 11 billion. Compensation companies charging 40%, so 4 billion market. So 50% of people still not collecting their compensation. So market is 2 billion.
Yeah,
size.
Your size. Yeah, that's how you determine. Reverse engineer size.
Interesting. What would be some of the money rules, your personal money rules that you follow and that help you personally?
Depend on the stage of the business development. I mean, still our businesses, I can probably invest 3 times more in all our businesses than my funds allow me to do that. It's still, market is so big. We can triple all businesses. Those businesses who already cash cow owners not willing to risk and go abroad. Plenty of businesses in Baltic. We are okay. Whatever, 20, 30, 50, 100 million profit. And we're okay. Then we're, of course, investing their cash differently what we are doing. So I'm actually active in the business. I like new ideas and new ventures if there is a team who can manage that businesses with the background.
I was more thinking 3 years ago, Matis came here to do the podcast because I was doing it for 7 years, this YouTube thing. And no, I was asking him more like, I think that was the second question. I was like, Matis, how much money do you spend per month?
Yeah, pretty much. Right. We're going to ask you that as well.
Yes, we want to ask you the same thing. How much money do you spend per month? Personally, not business, personally.
I think spending per year, max 1.5 to 2 million euros per year.
Really? Wow.
A lot or a little?
Little.
So I'm not exposed.
That's a conscious decision, or that's just naturally like you don't really need?
You know, in my mindset, I splitting business money and personal spending.
Right.
So I'm, spending a lot of time with the executive team.
Right.
So I'm not flying private. We have private jet in the group.
Yeah.
We're leasing it out. Okay, we're flying with a bigger company, and there is no way how to get faster than you're flying private. I think it's a waste of the money. It's my mindset.
Yeah.
Of course, if something, you can lease the boat for 1 million per week and invite whatever, but it will be again business.
Yeah.
It's not natural common life. So I don't use to the fancy
outlandish spending. I want to get back to this topic, but I just don't want to forget the question of overexpansion. So you have, by like by the standards of a normal person, normal company, unlimited resources, funding, network, and so on. How do you make sure you don't overexpand and you have like unlimited ambition and energy to do new things? You're curious and you want to put money into different ideas that have great teams, and there's always going to be a good, interesting idea in a massive potential market with a great team. How do you make sure that in your career you don't overexpand, do too many things, do too many exciting projects?
First of all, I would want to repeat once again, it is impossible always be successful, as you call it. Definitely, you need to fail to reach a level that not everything is happening in the best way, and it's normal in the growing businesses. It's most important not to stop when you fail.
Right.
But our organization, except family office, is already in the public capital market. We have a 20% American fund invested 2021, and we have rules. This is not Gediminas Žiemelis business.
Yes, sure. Your main business has a budget, a plan. It's clear, and they have guidelines in which they invest, and that's clear, and their shareholder alignment. But for you personally, like you read about a great AI idea that you could maybe combine with aviation, with your core business, and somebody comes with this specific idea. They have great background and they ask you for 10 million from your family office. How do you not go too much into many different tangents?
Of course, one of 10 projects become life.
Right.
Of course, I'm not doing everything, and I'm probably adding one project per year. And yeah, from the beginning, big risk of fail.
Okay.
And I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to lose money and not purposely lose money, but commercial risk is behind. So, but all startups in the right environment has the same risks.
But you don't feel like you sometimes have too many things going on, literally too many things, projects, ideas.
Maybe it sounds, I'm spending 5 minutes per business. Okay, not 5. 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Per week, but I don't want to be manager of those businesses. I'm investor with the some benefits which I can bring: network, cross-selling, access to the some markets and many offices or whatever. So it's not so. Every business should have owner, even if owner owns 30% of the shares.
Somebody that thinks about it every day.
Yes, right.
Can we go back a little bit to the billionaire, status? It's a cult status nowadays, right? Even in the podcasts and online, everybody talks about wanting to not even become a millionaire. Now it's becoming a billionaire. What are maybe the stereotypes that exist there versus the reality? You mentioned the amount of money you spend, which I think for someone like you is not a lot. It's little, so that's surprising. Maybe some other things. People perceive that billionaires, they basically spend times on a yacht, maybe with some cool girls, and so on. And the wife is somewhere on a different island. I don't know, like different types of stereotypes, right? And that you spend most times in high profile, very cool events. And then there's just been an army of people just to do everything for you. Can you debunk maybe some of the perceptions or stereotypes that people have about this type of lifestyle?
I think arrogance is the killer of the potential bright future for any businessman. Most wealthiest people in Western world, they're not arrogant. We're trying to hide boats and nice girls, as you said.
Right.
So I think it's the right way not to promote your wealth, and this is in my heart. Of course, we might have some things, but it should be in line with the people who are surrounding. At the end of the day, if you will be too far away from the people who work with you,
yes,
then you'll create a artificial distance,
a gap,
which will be killer.
That was my other question. How do you make sure you don't, because you live in a different sort of like everyday bubble? How do you not get too detached from your employees, people, your customers, that for whom 50 euros saving on a ticket is very important? How do you keep your foot on the ground?
Very different ways. first of all, I'm acting executive chairman, so I'm in the processes.
Yeah, you're in the operations.
I personally know top level executive of all our customers, suppliers. It's good and bad. It's good that I know what is going on, and we're trying always to involve me in the process where I'm not involved.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the protection during the procurement process or etc. But I think it's a manageable. Just saying, deal with it directly. But if something, let me know.
Yeah.
And I'm always has under my umbrella smaller companies or internal startups where I'm spending more time with the executives, and it gives me the feeling. For example, AI.
Yeah.
I'm there. Interesting, and I'm collecting the data. It's learning process for me as well.
Right.
Or advanced marketing, or feed generation in on the global internet environment, or whatever podcasts.
Yeah.
So I'm active on the social media last 1.5 years, and I'm learning as well. So I'm trying not to be detached from the ongoing things, and my communication with different managers brings me a lot of intelligence.
Yeah.
I'm asking the one rule from them: give me bad messages, and
give me the bad news. Yeah,
bad news as well.
Gediminas, how much more time do we have?
Yeah, we have.
Yeah?
We'll end at 11, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about life. It's interesting for me that many, at least for me personally, if I think about it, I strive to have more success in kind of this business thing, to have more maybe happiness. And maybe a question for you, as you reached different levels of business and wealth, has your happiness increased? Or is it everything's bullshit? It doesn't matter actually.
Maybe
I feel happiest when I was starting out.
The weight of money is too big, huh?
It's again, I think if you can get off the car, whatever, in Lisbon and grab a hot dog without security in the petrol station, you are okay.
Yeah.
Nobody knows you there.
Right.
And you're in the common life. So for me, actually, it's very okay to be in the crowd of other people when I'm not so much known. For example, Dubai, we have 56 billionaires living there. Official, unofficial, another 50 billion. So it's a crowd where you're not visible enough, and you can do whatever you want in your life. About happiness, it's a very long discussion.
What's your short take?
We have the time. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, we have 17 minutes, the whole time in the world.
Probably different age gives you different happiness. 19 probably one thing's, 50 another. Probably now I think I would be happy if my younger generation sons will reach some goals in their life, and if they will accept some recommendation, connections, and etc. from my side. Probably now would be 70. Maybe I would be happy seeing my businesses changing world. 10 years ago, probably first IPO was, or 15 years ago. So I think it's different stages of your age and personal development.
Money has brought you happiness or no? It had no impact.
Again, everybody's saying in the big business, it's like it's a tool to make a business. It's not about your wealth. I think it's true. So in my head, I splitting. Billions, it's a business. Millions, it's a private. No matter that billions could be also
right.
I'm not thinking like a consumer. Once I will start thinking about consumer, then my business decision will be driven. We're buying one company now, 40 million euros. I would buy the company for 40 million, or we'll buy whatever, bigger villa in Dubai with 15 bedrooms. Then my decision will be impact by consumers' thinking.
Mindset. A very different question about Air Baltic. Has your company been offered to invest or buy Air Baltic? Have you followed the situation?
I'm following. Air Baltic was our customer. In some cases, it's our competitor because they deploying excess capacity as ACMI or wet leasing as well. We have no plans to invest.
Okay. Ryanair, the CEO of Ryanair, O'Leary, what was his name? I forgot.
Mike O'Leary.
Michael O'Leary. What do you think about him? He's a very outspoken guy. I like how he trash talks the Brussels and the regulation and so on. What's your view?
It's a way of reducing cost in marketing, right? Saying aggressively on some
brash
things.
CEO, yes.
And
okay.
then you give attention. I think I know founder's family, Declan Ryan. I was in the conference. They called company Irelandia.
Mm-hmm.
And their family still owns shares in Ryanair. So father was a legend, Tony Ryan.
Uh-huh.
So O'Leary was assistant to his father back to 1990s.
Right.
And this is a much bigger story about Ryanair.
Yeah.
So Ryanair is actually, at the end of the day, is a copy of Southwest Airline in USA because Southwest was the first low-cost carrier in the world. And Tony Ryan created first leasing company in Ireland called GPS. And back to 1989, he bankrupted before the IPO on NASDAQ.
Wow.
So for 10 years, he was waiting for his window of opportunity.
Yeah.
And when September 11 came, so he sent his assistant O'Leary to USA to copy Southwest model. And then he ordered 300 or something aircraft with the very, very good condition. That's how Ryanair born. Mm-hmm. And of course, it's a very well-managed company. But from the aviator's perspective, it's a more asset manager, which owns almost 90% of their fleet.
Yeah. They don't rent out.
But they reinvested all profits to buy aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
And operation is just commercializing aircraft yields.
Mm-hmm.
They're creating yields, operating themselves.
Yeah.
So, and it's difficult to repeat this model next 20 years in Europe.
Because they're so large?
No, there is one so large. Another, there is no space for the competition.
Right.
That's why Wizz Air is facing a lot of challenges there. And Wizz Air model is totally different. They leased all the aircraft because the parent company, Indigo Partners, ordered 1,200 aircraft. We're providing to 4 airline companies, and they say lease back those aircraft, exactly like Air Baltic was doing. And they should pay leases during the non-peak season and losing money.
Yeah.
So bottleneck in schedule aviation is how Airbus and Boeing will behave. Actually, they are controlling situation.
Right.
And what is after them in the supply chain,
secondary
just a result.
Okay.
So if Boeing and Airbus would decide to double production, we can do this in 5 years. Oversupply of the aircraft. Now we're facing challenges of supply chain, everybody lack of the aircraft and people overcharging for the tickets because companies is pumping profit out of this situation. So there will be no competition next 10 years in low-cost carriers environment in Europe because of supply of the aircraft.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
You're in this aircraft business. I know there was this saying that if you want to become a millionaire, just be a billionaire and start an aircraft company.
I think that's what Warren Buffett was saying.
Right? So
we're repeating this always. So I was millionaire and become billionaire being in aviation.
That's a good one.
But our positioning, we're not airline. We are capacity provider and supplier to other airline companies, and we are not taking risk of B2C. We're not selling tickets.
Why not, by the way?
It's a constitution.
What is it?
Constitution.
What do you mean?
In my mindset.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't go to the B2C.
Principle. Okay.
Why
because
do you like
it's
B2B?
so cyclical or like well?
Exposed. Cycles, of course.
Yes.
Exposed by many things. And if one of our customers would bankrupt, we will get another customer.
Yeah.
So before the COVID, we saw 25 plus airline bankruptcies per year, scheduled carriers around the world, 0 bankruptcies of airports or lessors. because traffic overall per year is growing.
Yeah.
But new distressed and players which bankrupt being substituted by others.
Yeah.
So we have last year and this year 5.2 billion passenger is a record traffic ever in the world. And back to 1990s, we have 10 times smaller traffic.
Well, on that note, actually, I didn't plan to ask it, but what do you think about Virgin? Was it Virgin Airlines? And I suppose they rent their aircraft.
Yes. We have several airlines. We have Virgin Australia, Virgin.
Yes. Are they successful as a business from your perspective?
I think business model stands on brand itself.
Yes.
Virgin as airlines.
Yeah.
Virgin Australia was stepping into the very oligopoly market with high yields, with the intention to increase competition. We have airline company in Australia as well, so we're servicing, by the way, Virgin Australia. So it's a brand, but it's again long discussion. If we will have very open environment in scheduled aviation in the world, then we would have global airline. But we don't have a global airline, which can sell tickets for Australia, Indonesia, Dubai, London, Sao Paulo, New York. It's local companies. Yeah. We don't have a local travel agency. We have global bank. We have global booking. We have global many
global
things.
Airline.
A global airline we don't have because of the enter barriers. 51% owners should be locals. I cannot get a license in USA without USA passport.
How, we have 10 minutes left, how this fact that aviation is a very regulated industry, right? It's systematic for the individual countries, right? It's a serious, heavily regulated industry, similar to finance. And also when you mentioned getting a license, like we've been trying to enter some countries where we just cannot get the license, or we want to buy a company, but then it requires change of shareholders and the regulator is just taking 4 years to approve it. How did you manage to build the business or grow the business so big, so quickly, 20 years, 15 years, in such a deeply regulated industry?
This is a condition. So the probably one benefits which we are gaining as a white label or wet leasing airline company, would it be Brazil or Australia or Indonesia or Thailand, we are not selling tickets. We are not disrupting domestic market by increasing competition.
Right.
But we are supporting their carriers to increase margins,
right,
and to be more financially sustainable. And this is actually part of my work, attending those countries, making conferences over there, and promoting our product, which gives benefits to everybody, included us.
Right.
So we are, for example, if Lufthansa would decide to open airline company in Indonesia, I think it would be it's impossible.
Yeah.
Because they're protecting German market and they would compete in another market.
Yeah.
So we are not under the protection requirements and regulation, and we're bringing benefits to every country carriers once we understand benefits of our product. Get capacity when you need it, and don't sign the long liabilities when it's not needed.
Got it. Okay. Makes sense.
Off camera, we were talking that you said that the founder's job is also to kind of promote, talk about the business, do the marketing, do the sales. So in your B2B experience, what are some crucial principles you apply to negotiate and close deals?
Good preparation for the discussion, matrices and arguments, because our speech very easy. Even if we go to the AI apps, I can add low-cost carrier in United Kingdom. If I will add 40-hour aircraft per peak season, what net income? How much net income would increase? It'll get results, 42 million pounds. So it's the result that even AI can evaluate benefits of our product and then services. So the same in our selling speech. We're coming prepared with the right statistic numbers and metrics, and it's a way of how you prove your concept. It's in our business. In other businesses, of course, in our group, but in other businesses, let's assume airline companies needs constant maintenance, and it's a question: what is your background? What is your reputation? What is your overall presence in the market? And of course, what kind of licenses you have in your portfolio, because it's everything licensed. Not probably adaptable to other businesses.
Yeah, specific to the industry. How do you, maybe we talked about it in the beginning, how do you now spend your free time when you're not flying, you're not on business, not in meetings?
Doing nothing.
Doing nothing, huh?
Meditating.
You watch, by the way, Netflix and stuff like that?
Very, very seldom.
You meditate?
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of.
What's your meditation? For us, maybe it's like enduro riding.
It's hard enduro riding.
Yeah. I'm joking, of course, about meditation. Sometimes I like to do nothing because probably brain should restart and just to get some break. But I'm saying my business is my lifestyle,
right?
And family-wise and people surrounding, we're living this lifestyle
built in, yeah.
And it's not that I'm going for the vocation.
Yeah.
Most likely, it will be some
part of a business trip.
Part of the business. My managers. We have hangars in Bali, for example. We're going to Bali, but I'm combining my vocation and business discussions with the managers about things which are important for that business. So, and it's not that I'm tired. I mean, if you look to Buffett, the same.
Yeah.
He's flying every second day. It's
90
lifestyle.
years old, yeah.
Let's do the ending fun part. We know that you love basketball. That's your hobby. Who's your favorite player?
Jordan.
Classics.
Jordan, but I think Jordan is unrepeatable in all conditions.
Next, what skill you don't have yet, but you would love to learn, and why?
Good question. I don't have a lot of skills, but my goal is to manage process, to hire or attract people who has those skills, and in many cases, not having several or many skills, precise skills, give you a generalistic thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You can understand the process, but you understand that you're not going deep to details because those details might kill you. Might say no, risks. Don't do that.
Yeah, sure.
So if you look again to the all global companies founders, they were more generalistics.
Mm.
Where do you learn information? Like, how do you consume information?
What sources?
Yeah, sources.
All sources. I mean, today, plenty of sources. Internet, mainly internet literature. Usually, I'm reading information which exact portion what I need for my business.
Right.
For example, I'm receiving every day 200 plus emails. If email is more than 3 sentences, I'm not reading it.
Wow.
Email is more than 3 sentences?
3-4 sentences.
Okay.
It's like this. I cannot read.
Yeah.
I need basic.
Yes.
I need 3-4 words, numbers, which gives me what is going on. I'm a number guy. I don't need blah, blah, blah. I was doing that. Not working.
I think I need to take this rule on to my company as well. For some people, they really like the long sentences.
And numbers has no emotion.
Sure.
Any books you would recommend entrepreneurs to read?
I just made a podcast on my channel about the books. Yeah. Plenty of books.
What's like
the number one which I like is Free Economics.
Yeah, okay. I've read it. I don't remember much about it, but
it's about things which from the first side is not linked.
Obvious or linked? Yeah, okay.
Linked, and then it's really linked.
Okay.
If me and Matis go to Vilnius, what things would we? Oh no, maybe we go to you, maybe in Dubai or maybe a different place. But what things would you do with us? Like interesting attractions, action. What we would do? And you needed to have fun with us for the whole day. What would we do?
Good question. Definitely, you'll see.
Check out some private jets.
Interesting attraction points of the Dubai. I think that I would arrange you a meeting with several high-profile people,
That's how we roll. I like that.
Which probably give you sense of what is going on and maybe give you a business opportunity.
Okay, so not like a local kebab bar, but like meeting the sheikhs. That's it. That's
or like
Gediminas.
the motocross or days like quadricycle.
Motocross probably in Poland.
yeah, that's better there.
Last thing, what would be your kind of advice for entrepreneurs in life to be more fulfilled in life? What would you say as a last remark?
I had a recommendation 28 years ago. Find what is your hobby. And I was looking, what is my hobby? Tennis, golf, whatever. And for some people, it's impossible. So, but overall, the rules that combination of private life and work life should be in place. Time for family should be in place. But again, if you look best global examples, families following leader, families following founder. Look to the Trump as an example.
Mm.
And in some cases, unfortunately, it's not matching family goals, personal goals. So I recommend to find right people surrounding you who supports your way of living.
Thank you for coming. And right now we have done history together on YouTube.
So yeah, we're online. Gediminas, thanks for your time. Much appreciated. And have a good day today with the conference.
Thank you, guys. Interesting.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And now, Matis?
Yes, we have.
Can you make a picture?
Of course, we'll do. We have some gifts from you. Maria!
You can hand over to your driver. Or we
I will take, no worries.
That will take.